I put steak in boiling water, and if you can believe it, I actually learned this recipe at a 5-star steakhouse. In a pot, bring some water to boil, then drop in 4 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon of rosemary, and I'm also going to add in 1 tablespoon of dried parsley. Let's add some salt as well, 1 tablespoon. Stir everything together really well. Disperse all those spices in the water. You've got to make this recipe at home. I think you'll be pretty surprised. All right, now we're going to add our steak pieces into the water. I'm adding 600 grams of steak here. Cook them for just 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, remove the meat from the water. And I'm just going to place my steaks on a board so we can cut them up. But this recipe is seriously so amazing, and the meat turns out perfectly tender and juicy. Let's season the meat with some salt. And we don't want to forget black pepper, add a good amount there. Spread the pepper evenly all over the steaks. Then flip the steaks while they're still nice and hot and repeat the seasoning process on the other side. Be careful because that steak is still super hot. You don't want to burn yourself. Of course, the amount of salt is optional, but I like my steak quite salty. And again, don't forget that black pepper. The result is so perfect. These are super tasty, I promise. Now just add the meat to a preheated pan over medium heat. I've added some oil as well. Now you can cook with oil, butter, or coconut oil, whatever you want. But after frying up the steak, we're going to flip it so we can cook the other side. It's perfect. The meat turns out so flavorful. You can see they've really browned up so nicely here. Let's put the meat back on the cutting board. This process is super quick, and in less than 5 minutes, your steak is ready to go. Again, be careful not to burn yourself. They're still super hot. Now, after placing the meat on the board, we're going to cut it into thin strips. And of course, the cooking time does vary depending on your meat and depending on your preference. But if you like your steak medium, cook it on high heat, but for a shorter time. If you want your steak well done, cook it on medium heat for longer. When you add that meat back into the pan, cook it as long as you prefer. Now, the doneness of the meat really just depends on your personal taste. The heat level will really determine the doneness of the meat though, so make sure you keep an eye on that. I prefer medium steaks, but rare steaks are also so amazing. Now just place the steaks on a plate and call your family because our recipe is ready to go. I always like to serve steak with rice and salad, but I know your family is really gonna love this one. A perfect and super tasty steak every single time. The steak is incredibly tender, and I guarantee you that water trick is spot on. If you want, you can serve it with farofa and other sides because the steak